Hey everyone, this is Austin Schur here with We Write About Music, and today I'm speaking with brothers Eli and Gabe Sashihara of Brrgrr. They have just shared their EP titled Distance, and I am extremely excited to talk to them all about it. Guys, thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate it. How are you doing?
Doing great, man. Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks for having us, Austin.
Yeah, man, you're very welcome. I just kind of want to get this out of the way right at the beginning. I want to know what each of you guys do or what you're responsible
Yeah,
for in the band.
sure.
Because there's so much going on in sound and production that I'd rather just get that out of the way.
Cool. Well, for this project, we're kind of mixing it up. Traditionally, Gabe and I have really been a rhythm section for a lot of different bands.
Okay.
Gabe started on drums, I started on bass. But in this one, he's doing a lot more of the kind of frontman angle. We're both playing, he's playing a lot of bass, I'm playing a lot of guitar.
And
A lot
vice
of,
versa.
yeah, I'm mostly on
Yeah?
bass today, but
Yeah, I would say that, yeah, when we first started out music, we were even just the two of us, we played drums, and I played drums, he played bass, and it was just kind of an instrumental, kind of like post-rock thing at first. And then as time progressed, we were in various projects. We both picked up a couple more instruments along the years. For me, especially when I went to college and studied music, I became a lot more of a multi-instrumentalist, and paid some dues as a vocalist, and now sang some rough shows. But
Sure.
I got through that first hump, and now I'm feel like I'm ready to debut as a singer in a project.
yeah, so Gabe's really the front guy.
Okay.
I mostly like for the live project, I'll be doing bass predominantly.
Okay.
Uh, but we'll see. We're still figuring out how it's going to look live. In studio, we're kind of doing it all and just sharing the work. Gabe does a lot of key stuff. I do some synth stuff too. Gabe does some guitar and bass. I do guitar and bass.
I play all the drums.
Yeah.
That's
I'll
awesome.
occasionally put in a cowbell, you know?
Well, yeah, you gotta have that. And you don't need to be classically trained on that either. You can kind of just get in
Sure.
there and feel like that's more of a feel instrument.
Oh, definitely. A lot of fun with the cowbell.
I will say though that one of the many things that stuck out to me the most were the bass lines on the record. Like the bass is cranked way up and it sounds great. Like
Thanks.
really, really great. So yeah, whoever wants to take credit for that one.
Yeah, I'll take some credit, but it was definitely a collaborative process.
I figured.
Yeah, yeah. Gabe and I write a lot together. We're always helping each other write lines. A lot of the creative process is one of us does something and the other one's like, well, try that again a little different. So it's a lot of it is a very collaborative thing.
Perfect
That's
example,
awesome.
Election Day. That opening riff, do 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 do
Right.
do do do, and like that was originally a throwaway line, or according to Eli, like
Yeah,
we were
I didn't
jamming.
like it. I was
He,
just kind of doing that during the
yeah,
warm
he
up
was just
jam.
like, and that's actually often how a lot of things happen. Eli's
I
like,
was just gonna say that so many of the most famous like guitar riffs of all time were people just doing exercises.
Yeah, I was just warming up the fingers, and Gabe was like, "No, wait, do that again." And I was like, "Really?" But yeah, it ended up turning into a track on the EP, so that's fun.
That's really awesome. So lyrically, I have a pretty good idea of what it's all about. It seems like there's a pretty cohesive, sort of all-encompassing message, but I want to hear more from you guys on either the individual songs or just the EP as a whole and what it's all about and what it means to you.
okay, well, so Distance EP is essentially a chronicling of the COVID-19 pandemic as we've experienced it and as we comment on it over the course of 5 tracks. So, track one, COVID, covers,
Appropriately named.
Yeah,
yeah, that's the single.
Yeah.
It covers, starts out, flashback to when we began in 2020. So, like, that's the first line. And it talks about kind of like the beginning, early lockdown, and then we move forward to like shape up. Lockdown is in full swing, and trying to combat the lethargy, waking up late and stuff like that, and just kind of like a go and get 'em positive song.
yeah, discovering like new rhythms and kind of new routines during quarantine.
Then track three, Election Day, November 3rd, 2020. it's self-evident. It's a little bit of my my commentary, and and Eli, uh, kind of like adjusting that.
Yeah, we wanted it to kind of be a message of unplugging during this, very chaotic time in life, and kind of taking a step away from all the doom and gloom. And everyone, obviously has their own political opinions. We don't need to get into that, but the real message of that song is, sometimes you just gotta put down your phone, take a break from, the political chaos, and just, get on with your life.
And track four, yeah, and track four is Off the Tracks, which is really a track about kind of reconciling a sense of social atrophy with a desire a desire and hope to reconnect.
And then track five, Distance, the self-titled one, very, it's about distance. It's and like various forms of that, whether it's social or physical, or even like a cognitive distance in its own way.
Yeah, and the final line of the Distance, and both the song and the EP, is "See Me Come Fall," and here we are, fall 2021.
Wild.
Yeah.
Seriously, I like every time I look at a calendar, I'm like, how did we get here? But
Yeah.
like I said, there were so many things about the record that I enjoyed, but the chronicling of it, and even just like the position of the songs in which they go in, and the message was just such a very like complete feeling. Not that we're done with
Sure.
everything, but obviously, the music had to come out eventually. So.
Yeah, hopefully we don't need a second EP for this next
Oh, please no, please no. Yeah, I'm gonna just, please more music, obviously, but maybe different direction.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, or at least no more COVID. No more of that, please.
For real. So yeah, one of the things that I noticed is that there's so much happening in the music. Like it's quite atmospheric, and it kind of sucks in the listener. So what I really want to know is, I know that it's you two, but did you have any outside help? Is it really just you
Oh
two
yeah.
making all these sounds,
Yes.
and even like the production side of things?
We had a lot of outside help from our good friends. Notable shout outs specifically to our good buddy Lucas Hamron. We were in a bunch of projects with him.
He was in our first band growing up.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he threw down some, just a couple auxiliary layers, and gave us insights about, like we like used some of his synthesizer equipment.
He'd bring over some cool gear.
Yeah, and I would say like most of the instrumentation is us, save we had two tracks. They had two guitar solos in. So the guitar solo in Election Day, that was our buddy Jonah Tolchin.
Also from our middle school band, which was fun.
That's awesome.
And for Distance, and on the solo, and pretty much all the guitars
on that one.
on that track, is our buddy down in Austin, Ben Brown.
Yeah, and it was really great getting to work with a lot of our good friends throughout the years. Also, the sax on that one's Ethan Dunbar, Gabe's best friend since like kindergarten.
Yeah, 1999,
Wow.
baby.
That's
28 years
crazy.
ago.
Yeah, we also were able to fit in a lot of background vocals. So mostly Lucas and our friend Risa Eldridge. That's how
Eldridge.
Eldridge, sorry. And on the production side, Lucas helped with some stuff. Our buddy Alex Zhu helped a bunch. We went to his studio constantly.
Well, specifically for running through his console, because he has this awesome Neve console, and all this crazy vintage gear. I mean, most of the production and mixing happened in our own spaces. Like
our bedroom mostly.
Our bedroom,
Sure.
And a lot of headphone mixing, and transitioning between that and studio monitors, just to manage ear fatigue. But also, in terms of recording the drums, we did two of the tracks. We recorded the drums are in our own spaces. So for COVID, and we recorded those drums actually at Lucas Hamron's house in Princeton. And for Off the Tracks, we recorded that drum track in our basement here in Princeton Junction. And for the other three tracks, we went to a studio called Timber Studios in Bayonne, New Jersey. And our buddy August Axelson, who plays in a band called Koinashi. He um, engineered the drums for tracks Shape Up, Distance, and Election
Yeah,
Day.
and that was really cool because I met August through a bartending gig, and we just kind of kicked it off. We had a lot of similarities. He played bass. He was half Asian. Kind of, we liked the same stuff. Both were pescatarians, so we were like, we
Very
just hit it off.
true.
And he was talking a lot about how he had this incredible drum room in Bayonne. So we were really excited to actually get in there and get to check it out. And he gave us an amazing rate. Really hooked it up. And yeah, we loved the drum sound in there. They had a crazy amount of microphones on the
Like
kit.
14.
14, yeah. Yeah, a lot of them were just capturing the room sound. But there were like a couple in the hallway, and actually the little dog Bowser got his own little feature barking and then the hall.
Actually, I don't know. I think we cut the hallway mic because the hallway mic was more like an experimental thing, but we didn't.
Maybe if we ever do a remastered, we can sneak it in.
Or maybe
There you go. Deluxe.
or maybe if we decided to do like a like a short film with the music, or I don't know.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
So this is not a question that I think I've ever asked because I haven't had the opportunity, but because your brothers first and your bandmates second, were there any complications in start to finish because you're so close?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, Gabe and I, we're a great team, but we go for blood probably once a practice.
Yeah.
Well, it's not always that bad.
It's not always that bad. No, but I mean, we've been best friends. We're very close, so it's easy for us to, be honest with each other, and that doesn't always look pretty. But it's always
No, but we're each other's number one partner in crime since
Right.
as long as as long as I can remember.
Sure.
Because I'm the younger one. He's
yeah,
like a year
year
and a
and
half,
change. Not even.
almost 2 years, just shy of 2 years older. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of honesty, a lot of just we lived together. We went to college together. We lived around the U.S. and Canada together, and now and when you spend so much time with somebody, especially in a pandemic with lockdown, there's.
Goodness.
I mean, I'm sure a lot of people can relate to
Yeah.
tense moments, but honestly, we're able to to work together and get stuff done.
Yeah, and it helps that we're both we have a tremendous amount of similarities, but we also are very, very different people in terms of our processes and stuff. And there's a lot of great synergy. I'm kind of like a loose and fast guy. Gabe really can buckle in and do a lot of the meticulous work that I just have to leave the room. For instance, with like sound design, I can't get into, there's only so much I can listen to a snare, for instance, but Gabe's really good at dialing these things and has a good vision for stuff like that.
And that's a great person to have because if you guys brought the same, qualities to the table, I don't think that the end product would be nearly as good. The fact that you're sort of, each other's yin to each other's yang is a little bit better. And I think overall, I mean, obviously I don't know you too well as people, but it seems like your relationship is a lot more constructive and productive than any other duo. Just because you do have that closeness and you're not afraid to say certain things to each other because at the end of the day, you're related, you're brothers. So.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna eat dinner together probably.
Right. Maybe. It depends on how big the fight is, of course, but yeah.
But it is cool. We got really lucky being brothers, and working with your best friend is always kind of the dream. So,
Of course.
It's funny. I think Julian Casablancas from The Strokes once said that I don't know if he still believes this, but that the best way to ruin a friendship is making a band.
Yeah, I've heard that quote before. And you're probably right. I think it's like, don't go into business with family or like things along those lines.
Yeah. But
There has to be an exception somewhere.
Yeah, but I mean, and I'd say like the grind, the process, the ups and downs have definitely really test and strain and a relationship, but they also expand and deepen a relationship too. I mean, the fact that we've been able to stick it out, for almost 30 years with each other,
Right.
And I think it's really made us stronger as a unit.
Yeah, and at this point, there are very few new fights. We basically hashed them all
Covered it
out.
all, like an old
Yeah.
married couple.
And it never really comes to physical blows either.
Oh yeah, it's
That's
not.
good.
It doesn't.
I mean, it has like once or twice.
Yeah, but it doesn't
Like
really.
in the past, but like
That's
Brother,
reasonable.
years ago.
That's
just brother
reasonable.
stuff.
Yeah.
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 So I had touched on this a little bit before we started recording, but I do feel like we have a lot of the same musical influences. So what I would love to know is, was there anyone or anything that inspired the sound of this record? And do you actively
Yeah.
avoid trying, or do you actively avoid listening to music while making music as to not inspire too much?
Well, I always am listening to music. I'm a big ol' playlist junkie. So
That's
I'm
his
always,
specialty.
yeah. But there definitely were a couple notable artists that definitely we were trying to channel in certain ways on certain tracks. Kind of obviously, Distance, the title track, is very Pink Floydy. That was a deliberate thing. Actually, Gabe has a kind of funny story
Yeah.
about how he made the piano line for that.
Yeah, so I started out by writing the keys, like all the keys, specifically the chorus and the verse, and then I kind of grinded out the bridge later. But it was funny. I was just in my bedroom one night, just thinking, Tame Impala, they're pretty successful, but it's also, I mean, kind of anybody could do what they're doing, and I mean, obviously, I don't really believe that, but it's kind of my attitude. It's just like I'll just go to the piano and kind of BS some chords and like do some like movements of thirds and etc. And I found that actually, wait a second, this kind of this feels good. It's actually like accidentally good, and so then I had that
Definitely good. Sure.
with me just trying to do like I'm just flippantly, let's just try something Tame Impala. But then I thought, okay, what if I take this more in a Pink Floyd direction? Hence, that that D sharp minor 9 chord to the switching between the minor and the major dominant, and so you kind of get that Pink Floyd thing.
And then he instantly, knew that for the drums we need something big. He pulled a lot of the a Led Zeppelin "When the Levee Breaks."
I
beat
strip
for the
ripped
verse.
the groove from "When the Levee Breaks," but I still also incorporating a little bit more of the orchestral qualities of Keith Moon, like because like in the album Quadrophenia specifically, like he does a lot of like a rolling crescendos.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of my idea for like when the drums come in, with the buzz roll. I was kind of channeling a little bit of Keith Moon there, and then for the bridge, I wanted to bring it, have it be more coasting like Nick Mason or David Mason. What's his name? I keep on switching.
I forget too.
Yeah, but like drummer from Pink Floyd.
I think Nick Mason is the son now that's like doing his thing, or
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I could be
I'm terrible
wrong.
with names.
I think it's David
Yeah.
Mason.
I think you're right.
Yeah, but like for like really getting that kind of live at Pompeii, just
Sure.
riding kind of thing. I mean, I could go on
Yeah,
and on.
No,
that was
it's-
definitely the most influenced track where we were kind of going for a specific aesthetic. A big philosophy of the project is after being in so many different groups with different people, we really wanted to be able to make really whatever kind of music we felt like when we felt like it and release it when we want. So a lot of these songs aren't really trying to fit a specific aesthetic or style as much as they were tracks that were kind of floating around in our head, and we kind of just conglomerated them together. But I'd say for off the tracks, maybe the only other one that has a strong influence, I always kind of viewed it as our Land of Talkie kind of song, pulling from Elizabeth Powell influences.
Sure.
It's definitely a more straightforward indie rock one.
Yeah, 2000, going back to our roots, 2000s in rock.
Yeah,
The good stuff.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
a lot of people hate on the 2000s, and I would agree a lot for as far as mainstream stuff. But like 90s into like 2000s into like mid 2000s, like, yeah, that was a real renaissance. in
Yeah,
terms
Finished
of-
it all.
Yeah, I mean that's when we
Finished it all,
were
yeah.
falling in love with a lot of the genres we still love today. So
Makes sense. So, now that you've actually gone from start to finish on this entire project, especially because it sounds like it's taken you all a while to really get it finished, is there something specifically that you've enjoyed about the process the most? From the writing, recording to the actual, hitting publish button?
Oh, well, I love finishing I love it being done and releasing, but I'd say probably that it was all the funny little moments
The
during the
journey
mix.
of getting there.
Yeah, like for instance, when we recorded Ethan Dunbar for sax,
Hmm.
all of the vocal takes Gabe did was in what we call the closet of darkness. It's
The
this
darkness,
yeah, it's
darkness,
right in our
Explain, please.
brother, darkness.
it's right in our bedroom, and the light goes off when you close the door. So whenever
Okay.
we'd have it insulated in there, and every time it was time to record, he'd close the door and have this little phone light. So when our buddies would come in to record, if they were using a microphone, we'd often put them in the closet of darkness. And for
Yeah.
Ethan, he came over. It was a very short session. We came over, we had some drinks, had some fun, and then put him in the closet of darkness around like 2 a.m. and he just ripped solos for like
That's
an
so
hour and a
awesome.
half. And,
Oh man.
the other fun thing was with another feature was my best friend since like third grade, Mikkel Jung. He does some tambourine. We call it lead tambourine on
Yeah,
the final notes,
of
and
course.
he doesn't play music really, so we had a lot of fun just coaching him to do it. And we just had a bunch of drinks, and we're like, all right, we need to finish the album with some shakers, some tambourines. Let's do it. And we
He
just
has the
recorded
final note on the EP. That final tambourine.
Really? That's what
That's
an honor.
yeah.
it.
That's really
That's
cool.
him, Nickel Jung.
Damn. All right, so theoretically speaking, what does the next year of your lives look like?
Oh man, that's a great question. Still trying to figure that out largely, but it definitely is going to involve at least another album and an EP. Um,
Really?
yeah, we have a crazy amount of stuff lined up. I don't want to put a timeline to it too
No,
strictly.
don't. Definitely. I want to
Yeah,
keep the focus on this record. I know how hard you've worked
yeah,
on it.
we want to maintain our credibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
We
no
don't
leaks, no
want to be like
spoilers.
George R. R. Martin. Just the
Oh,
dragons are
yeah,
coming, guys. I
yeah,
promise.
yeah. I'll forget you said anything.
Yeah, good for the best. But
Yeah,
definitely, we're working on the next one. We have a lot of the groundwork that we made because actually, when we started Distance, there were all these other songs that some of them we were even more excited for that we had to curb because those 5 songs kind of meshed together so well. We
right.
thought this is the first EP. So right now we're opening up a lot of old files and poking around, and we've already kind of outlined what the next couple releases are going to look like. We
Right.
just got to finish recording and writing some of those tracks. Some of them are already basically done too, which is nice.
Yeah,
Do you
we
think?
have like some 30 odd numbers we're working on in various states. Some like about I think like 6 or 7 complete instrumentals that need lyrics. Like 1 or 2 fully written tunes, and then smattering of others in various states of
But
development.
the other big thing is like Gabe and I both love to perform. So the other thing is figuring out the live band, trying to get some
Yeah.
shows. With this project, we're really starting again from square one. We kind of started it in February. It's kind of weird to say because we've been playing together, our whole lives, it feels like.
Sure.
But we made a conscious start in February to this project. And with that, we need to find the band. We need to,
Which we have been doing. We found it. We're less so looking for permanent members at this moment. We're just trying to get the damn thing on the road. So
Of
looking
course.
forward to strutting around on stage because it's always really fun.
Yeah, it's the highlight. It's like you worked your ass off for the last almost basically 2 years. You deserve to get on stage and play these songs
Totally.
live. And I
Totally.
and I really do think, and I'm sure obviously you have the same sentiment, that the music is so intricate that it needs a good live band. Like you can't
Oh yeah.
half-ass it when it comes to picking up other members because you wouldn't want your work to not translate how it should be.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Gabe and I have always been about playing live shows. In college, we didn't record much with our bands, but we were playing like basically weekly with a variety of projects. And that's one of the things during quarantine that, as most performing musicians really missed that. Not even just from a financial standpoint, but also from a social standpoint. It's really great in sharing your music with people as an artist.
Mhm.
It's one of my big incentives of making music is being able to share it. I love
yeah,
that.
and I feel
Totally.
And being on the stage for me, it makes me feel like it sounds cheesy, but I just feel so alive when
It's
and
not
just
cheesy.
and just myself when I'm on a stage performing, especially music that I love and believe in.
It's the
And
adrenaline rush you need, and it's like you've
exactly,
just been strapped. It's like, if you don't do drugs, it's your drugs.
It totally
So,
is. And if you do drugs, it can also be your drugs.
yeah, but then you do the drugs before you get on stage, and it's just like
yeah.
super drugs. It's great.
Right.
So,
Well,
well,
I did.
anyway, I hope you can
Okay,
make it work in the next year.
Thanks, man.
thanks, man.
Yeah. So you have mentioned a lot of other projects that you've been in, and it sounds like you're pretty well connected in either your local scene or just, with other independent artists. I would love for you to take a minute and shout out anyone who's being slept on, other people that,
Oh,
are
so many
also
people get slept
doing
on.
big things.
Well, I'll shout out some of our main other project from Colorado because that's where we lived for like 6 years was Most Bodacious, and
Okay.
that's a very more shreddy, instrumental, experimental rock group.
Yeah, we
Um,
released an album in 2017. Yeah, it's an instrumental album, 10 tracks, um, and
our
with Ken Arimura and Jack McGarvey.
Yeah, we'll definitely shout out just our friends first and foremost. We're good friends
Definitely.
with Danny Golden. We went on tour with him a while ago, and Ben Brown, who's his guitarist, was huge on this release. Shout out to Salmonet, which is Lucas Hamron's French band, and they actually just released today. The track's really tight. It's called Data. It's a good track.
Nice, nice.
And it has like Charlie Stacy on it, who's really cool and plays with the Yusuf Daves trio. It has Midnight Tracks, which is our favorite brother duo from France. But in terms of music that we just listened to, oh, also shout out Jonah Tolchin, who is
Jonah
huge on it.
Tolchin, what a guy! Oh man, like just an amazing talent. Rips on guitar, and what label was he signed to? I forget.
Yep, rock.
Yep Rock Records.
But
So
also, but in terms of just bands we like that think are very slept
and
on, I've recently been loving so many bands. But our friends Vals Fréquence in Montreal, when we lived there for like almost 2 years and played some shows with them, they're incredible, and I think they're only getting better every release. But bands that we don't really have personal relationships with, I've been listening to a lot of Slow Pulp and Ovlov recently. I
Slow
think
Pulp are
Ovlov,
pretty sweet. I have not heard of the other one though.
yeah, they're both very slept on. There's so many good labels and bands in the area right now. Uh,
Top Shelf Records, they're killing it in the game right now.
yeah,
Yeah.
love Top Shelf. I think Helena Deland from, if I'm pronouncing that right, from Luminel Records is super slept on. She's absolutely amazing. Land of,
Land of Talk.
I mean, they've been around for a while, but they're so incredible. Really great.
And Katie von Schleicher. You're gonna Schleicher.
Yeah.
Also,
Awesome. Well,
yeah.
I got some musical homework now. Geez, I'll definitely be going back and listening to this and checking some of those artists out. So thank you.
Oh, one mention that
Please.
been a huge influence for almost all my career. Besides my drum teacher Joseph Falsey in Ewing, there's also his bass mentor and for a while my guitar mentor Wilbo Wright. He's been
Huge
in
influence.
various projects, specifically UI spelled UI.
Okay.
Um, like that's like so slept on, and
And
they're
a huge influence for us too. They're post rock, they're incredible, and specifically their album Lifelike was very big for us growing up, and definitely,
answers.
yeah, definitely shapes a lot of the like tones and lines we sometimes want to make. If Gabe ever's like, do something a little bit more ooey, I basically know exactly what you're
That's
talking about.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like that
Very
crowd.
cool.
Yeah, like the stereo, like the UI crowd, like the Stereo Lab, and um, what's their name again? Other post rock.
Well, there are a lot of good post rock groups, but yeah, shout out to Wilbur Wright. He was huge on the release, and we had a lot of trouble deciding when the right time to release was. Some of our friends were telling us like, no, definitely don't release now, wait a while. But Wilbur gave us the best pieces of advice, which is you never finish an album, you abandon it. So at a certain point, it's time just to let it out in the world. We could have spent another year tweaking things on it, but it was time to
You're
abandon
getting
it.
music videos,
Yeah.
lined up, getting everything just right. But I think the main thing, if you look at our discographies, like this is only our second release besides the single from the EP earlier, um, and we figured we got to make sure that we exist. Like you can't do anything if
Totally.
you don't exist. And also, I mean, we want to move on because doing this EP and over the last year, it definitely took a lot longer than it should have because of a lot of personal hardships. Putting our dog down and dealing with quarantine and family stuff. It's really been a tough last year. But I think moving forward, I'm really excited to be progressing. We're both really excited to be progressing to new music, bigger, better, louder, and yeah. So it's going to be a really exciting time, and I think it should take a lot less time than this first EP did.
That's all right. Again, no rush, no guarantees. It's
True
all
that.
good. All right, guys, I got one more question for you at this point. The
Cool.
question is for those that are going to discover you from this, and for those that are going to listen to your music for the first time, what is an opening message that you'd like to say to them?
Well, first and foremost, it's super cool if you listen to our music. I mean, that's always a very exciting thing. We love sharing it. I guess just a lot of this stuff is meant to be enjoyed. So, however you best enjoy music, listen to it that way, whether or not it's in the car, it's, with your friends, with your dog, with a beer. Listen to it the way you like to listen to music, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah, I would say thank you so much for checking us out, and hope you like it. And if you do, just look us up.
And hit us up,
And hit us up.
Totally.
We're always down to chat.
or hang. Yeah, it would be cool.
Awesome. All right, guys, I want to thank you so, so much again for coming on. This has been a total treat to kind of pick your brains and hear about all this, this awesome EP.
Thanks,
For
Austin.
everyone listening at this time, Brrgrr Band. Check them out. Distance EP. Listen to it. Stream it. Follow along for more because by the sound of it, it sounds like there's a lot more on the way. No
Oh, yeah.
guaranteed dates coming, but that's okay. Expect something in the next year or so. Uh,
Great.
Thank you guys so much again. I really appreciate your time, and we'll definitely be speaking soon.
Yeah, thanks,
Awesome. It was a
Austin.
pleasure.
You're
Thanks, man.
very welcome. Have a good day. Bye
Take
bye.
it easy, man.